Early on in the production of Snow White, there was a desire to move the animation to a much higher level of dimensionality and believability. For this purpose, motion studies were conducted with actors, going through blocking their paces, and this footage that resulted was then studied by the animators to determine the mood and expression of their animated drawings. Eddie Collins, the vaudevillian here, is performing to a playback track. Collins was kind of a baggy pants vaudeville comedian. Now here he's dancing with Larry Morey, one of the storymen on Snow White. The footage here is for the silly song in the cottage.
When you start to lose your figure and your hips keep getting bigger.
And this is kind of a stupid, semi-drunken walk, which is very typical of Dopey's mindless, innocent move. Now, with the body contour he's indicated, the weight, he's doing different characters. Happy, I think, was the last one, and now he's back to a stumbling Dopey. This is a test with a costume store mask to give you an idea of the scale of the dwarf oversized heads with their small bodies. This is Marge Belcher, who at the time was a young dancer. She would eventually marry Art Babbitt, one of the Disney animators who worked on Snow White, and later would become Mrs. Gower Champion and become part of the famous Gower dancing team. The fact that Marge is wearing these kind of goofy, great clothes here suggests that this is more of Dopey's reference footage, or it just could be eccentric dancing to give different ideas of free-form and movement. Those last ones were being deliberately undercranked to get fast speed, and it may just be part of the entire study process. Now here's Marge with Oliver Wallace, who had just joined the Disney company as a staff composer and musician, coming from Universal, where he had been composing for many of their B pictures and had been the recording organist on Franz Waxman's score for Bride of Frankenstein. Wallace was one of the original theater organists at the turn of the century, beginning about 1910, and is today looked upon as one of the masters of the Wurlitzer theater organ style. He was with Disney intermittently up into the 1950s, and even is featured in The Story of the Animated Drawing, one of the great Disney television shows from the Disneyland series in 1955, where he recreates his act of accompanying silent cartoons on the Wurlitzer. Marge is wearing a gown that is designed to agree with the animated character model that will be drawn from this reference footage. And in its tonality, you'll notice that it does not have the dark black-blue bodice that we know from the animated Snow White. And that is because her original color scheme was a bright yellow bodice with a pale yellow dress. In fact, Snow White began inking and painting and photography with that model design before someone realized that they preferred a darker value there to separate her body forms.